2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn Joe into DFS pros.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is your DFS Army Bold Calls NBA podcast for Thursday, December 27th, 2018. And I am your host today, as every day, BoomersDaddy. And joining me from Southern California, Bear. What's up, Shy?
Hey, everyone. How you doing?
I mean, you sound awfully excited this morning.
I do?
No, you don't. Not really. You sound normal. So, last night was interesting to say the least, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. The big thing is I decided that I was gonna stack up the late game in a lot of lineups as much as possible. And I just didn't have enough of the good surrounding pieces in my lineups personally to, push me over that edge. It did exactly what I wanted to do, but I didn't hit the right, ancillary pieces outside of that Sacramento and I forgot who they played.
Sacramento?
Yeah. It's been one of those mornings. Like, I got late coffee. You would think that your wife being home on vacation would allow you to, get an earlier start. Yeah, that didn't happen. That has not happened the last 2 days. So, hopefully tomorrow it will. But it was a decent night. I broke even, and a lot of that had to do with the head-to-heads that I had. It's one of those things. Like I woke up and I'm like, okay, I see this, and you kind of just keep going and sticking with your process. And I'm happy with the process, not happy with the results, so it just pushes you harder the next day.
Yeah.
So we got a nice. This is probably one of the better 5-game slates that we've had on a Thursday in a long time. Well, it's the best Thursday that we've had probably all season. But the matchups that we have tonight, absolutely amazing. I think the only thing that can make this better would be if Oklahoma City was on the slate playing like Toronto or something. So, nice little 5-gamer. Houston, Boston, Milwaukee, New York, Sacramento, Lakers, Utah, Philly, Golden State, Portland. Outside of the Lakers game, Bear, what would your favorite, from an NBA standpoint, not a DFS standpoint, let's talk NBA here just for a second. What would your favorite matchup be tonight, and why?
Teams or individuals?
Teams, game, like favorite game that you're looking forward to, like sitting down, cracking open an ice cold brew and watching.
What do you think?
Outside of the Lakers.
I mean, you know the answer to that question.
But I do, but not everybody else does. Outside of the Lakers, I said that.
It's definitely going to be Lillard back in Oakland.
Yeah. We know this, but what people don't understand is we pretty much, we've never met in person, but, you're one of my closest friends. We work really, really well together, just like me and Al worked really, really well together And I attribute that to us talking all the time. We're always bouncing things off of each other. We're always making sure that everything is on the up and up, always double checking everything on the back end, and always talking about game theory when it comes to DFS. And with that, we've started to kind of think a lot alike. And I don't know if that's me rubbing off on you or you rubbing off on me, but I do know that, Golden State and Portland, with Portland going into Golden State tonight, with Dame going back to Oakland, which for those of you that don't know, when he gets introduced in Portland, he doesn't get introduced as wearing the letters or the number 0. He gets introduced as wearing the letter O.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasoning behind that. And he's from Oakland. He went to Oregon, now he's in Portland, he wears the letter O. So, he loves going back home and he's had a lot of good success there. So that's probably my favorite one that I'm looking forward to watching tonight. And I hope it lives up to the hype as, from a basketball standpoint. So, all right. So point guards, let's get right to it. Steph Curry. What?
Now that we gave away our top.
Well, he's the first one on there. I mean, you've got to talk about him.
No, I'm saying we've already given away our top point guard in the opening with Lillard.
Yeah.
But I've got a few builds with Steph and Dame kind of going back at it. I mean, if you look at what point guards have done against both of these teams, it's nice. The Warriors not as much as the Blazers, but when you've got the Lillard narrative there, see, I'm kind of torn because, Steph is 9,700. He's not where he was a few weeks ago. He's now like approaching stud pricing. So you need him to go off. And look, if anybody can go off, it's Steph Curry. That's not the question is not can he. The question is will he. So I think in this type of matchup, let me take a look here at our friends over at Skybook. It looks like that game is 227. That's the second highest total on the board. And the Warriors are favored by 9. So, how do they get to that score, to that number without Steph Curry being really involved? It's him and Durant, right? I mean, those are the two. Obviously, you've got Clay, who's been just monumentally struggling with his shot. I mean, he forgot to shoot. It's crazy. But eventually he'll break out of that. Hopefully one of you guys have him when he does, because that's a 50-point night. But yeah, Clay forgot how to play. So it's really going to be Steph and Durant. So those are the two that I like pairing together. Obviously, they're both expensive. It's not easy to do. I get that, but those are the two that I'm targeting from this game, along with Draymond.
Yeah, it's one of those great spots where you can sit here and look at it and go, it's these guys love to put on shows, and when there's a couple things that you look forward to as an NBA player, especially the leader of an NBA player, and one of them's playing on TNT on Thursday night. The other one is like Christmas, at least a couple times in your career for Christmas, not like a LeBron thing where you've done it 14 years in a row now.
Yeah.
It's and Dame gets that now, and now he gets to match up against the best point guard in the league, a 2-time MVP on Thursday night. So I'll just keep going back to Dame here on on a number of these occasions. So he's had a lot of good success, and I love the ping pong with him and Steph. Now it's expensive. It's not for the faint of heart.
It is. And you pretty like for a tournament win, you'll need them both to hit their ceiling. Because I mean, you're pretty much limiting the rest of your lineup with those two guys.
I've got a lineup with Steph and Dame and
I've got
Giannis.
like 3 or 4. I've got like 3 or 4, not Giannis, but Durant instead. But I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying if you want to take down a tournament, you need a ceiling from both of them.
Yeah, it's lacking in punch.
Yeah.
So
you can't have a 38 from either of them. I mean, 52 plus each, but it's very, very possible in that total score in that pace of a game. It's very possible to have that. So I think it's worth the shot for sure. Okay, other point guards.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ben Simmons here real quick.
I like it.
I do too.
I like it, and I think a couple things. First of all, I mean, just look at his recent history. I mean, he's just putting up big numbers, man. Secondly, we talk about it every time the Jazz are on the slate. Like, people are going to see the Jazz and they're just not going to touch them. They're not going to probably touch any of the Sixers because they think they play at such a slow pace, and they don't anymore. I mean, I'm trying to, look at these matchups here, and I'm trying. I mean, I don't know if Rubio is going to be able to hang with the size of Ben Simmons.
Do you really think it's going to be Rubio on Simmons?
No, I don't. That's what I'm getting at. Like, so I think Ingles and Butler and/or Mitchell it's going to be Ingles and Butler. It's going to be Mitchell and Redick. It's going to be Crowder. They're probably going to end up starting either Crowder or Favors, but either one of those on Chandler, and then Gobert and Embiid. I mean, what's left? It's going to have to be Rubio, unless you see Rubio guarding Redick and then Mitchell on Simmons. That's possible, but I don't see it any other way.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to be able to guard him, and which is kind of the point that you were making. Because I'm sitting here going through, like, you're going to throw Mitchell on him. Okay, that the advantage goes to Simmons. You're going to throw Rubio, Simmons. You're going to throw Dante Exum, Simmons. You're going to throw, you throw anybody out there. You're going to throw, Joe Ingles, Simmons. You're going to throw Jay Crowder. Now, Jay Crowder might be able to slow him down a little bit, but I don't think
he's going to come off of Wilson Chandler, though.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is I don't see him coming off of Wilson Chandler because that automatically puts a smaller guy on Wilson Chandler, and then it's an automatic mismatch.
Right.
Not that Simmons is an automatic not that it's not an automatic mismatch anyways, but it's still the same thing. So yeah, I don't see a lot of what the Jazz can do, to kind of slow him down. Now, the problem is Embiid going to do the dirty work to keep Rudy Gobert out of the paint so Simmons can actually finish the drives? That's what I'm worried about a little bit more. If Embiid's willing to do the dirty work tonight and box out Rudy Gobert,
he's going to have to. They have no chance otherwise.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're sitting there watching film, and the coaching staff is looking at Embiid saying, "Dude, if you don't body this Eiffel Tower up, like, we're gonna lose." I mean, I'm not an NBA coach, but
is there any way that they put Mike Muscala in to kind of absorb some of that to free up Embiid a little bit?
The only time they'll put in Muscala is when they go Gobert and Favors. I mean, that's the only. I mean, like, Muscala on Gobert, I don't. It's not going to favor the Sixers.
Well, I know it won't favor the Sixers.
they'll match minute for minute. Like Gobert checks in, Embiid checks in. Gobert goes out, Embiid goes out. That's what's going to happen. They're going to be, and obviously the only time that will change is, foul trouble or anything else. But
yeah, I'm just trying to think of a way that they maybe get Embiid free a little bit, and we'll talk more about that here shortly. But yeah, I mean, Simmons is in a prime spot tonight, just by the way that he plays. Kyrie Irving, yay or nay?
Well, so last night when I was pretty sure Harden was going to sit and this game was just going to kind of be a loss, no. But now we're seeing Harden's probable, so that changes a lot.
A lot.
I think, so him and Simmons are the same price. So I think I'm going to probably distribute my shares probably 70-30 between those two. 70 going to Ben and then 30 to Kyrie. And the fact that I'm not going 100% Simmons is saying a lot because I really like his spot here.
Well, it's only because of Dame and Kyrie and Steph and Fox. I mean, the top end part of point guards is absolutely loaded tonight. And it's just roster construction. That's the only reason, because I'm right there with you. I love Ben Simmons that much that I don't see. I'm having to tailor my builds to get off of him. And it's really hard to play Ben Simmons and James Harden and Kyrie Irving to get that ultimate ping pong in a lineup at the same time.
So just going to read here a quote from Lakers reporter Mike Trudell. Luke Walton said Josh Hart would most likely start in LeBron's place tonight, so that means we could see all of the Lakers draft pick starting lineup from the Summer League 2 years ago. Ball, Ingram, Hart, Kuzma, and Zubac. That's 3 21-year-olds and 2 23-year-olds. It's going to be a crazy pace, man. There's a bunch of kids out there, athletes running like madmen. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. But
until KCP and Jackson and Lance, and then then they're going to be like, it's like, come on, Pops, keep up.
Yep. Go take your anti-inflammatories.
No kidding.
So those guys, yeah, I mean, look, the pace, this is a massive pace up for Kyrie, and I really like Kyrie there. So let's talk about a couple point guards here that I think can go pretty low owned, and are in pretty decent spots. So the first one's going to be Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah.
I think Bledsoe is going to go unowned, man. Seriously. I mean, we talk about all these top guys, and then you've got probably the chalkiest point guard on the slate, Lonzo Ball, with Rondo also being out, who's cheap. He's priced as though those guys are in. He's priced as though, like he was last game where he didn't close the game out. He didn't play very much at all, like 26 minutes, I think. I have to remember what it was. Well, he's probably going to be playing over 30 minutes now. And on Fanduel, he's 6K. And you're going to see just a lot of ownership there. And I don't hate it. I mean, in your cash games, you lock them in. 6K, 35 minutes, initiating the offense, all that great stuff. If he can actually hit a jumper, it'll be great upside. And he can. We've seen it before. He's had those games. But let me talk a little bit about De'Aaron Fox, okay?
Go ahead.
So since high school, Fox and Lonzo have been going at it. They had battles in college. They were drafted a few places apart. They have a feud. Now, not a feud of like anger or hatred or disrespect, but on the court. And a basketball feud. It's all love and basketball, right? So every time Fox sees Lonzo, he turns into the Incredible Hulk. Like he just wants to destroy him. It's just the way these two, I mean, he's been having a great year all around, and for me, if I'm playing cash, I'm locking the two of them in and moving on. But he's got tremendous upside. Last night they got blown out, unfortunately, because you and I were both heavy on that game in our builds. So he didn't finish the game, and a lot of that was the second unit brought him back. And you're not supposed to bring in your starters if your second unit got you back. You're supposed to let them continue the game, which they did. In that Clippers game, they played the Clippers, by the way. That was, quite the comeback by that second unit. But Jaeger's sitting there thinking, okay, these guys brought us back. They're going to keep playing. He's also thinking, we've got the Lakers tomorrow night. We're traveling after this game, although it's not very far from LA to Sacramento. But we're traveling, and then we have a game tomorrow. And, so he got his rest. So a lot of people might be concerned about the back-to-back. Go look at the game log and see how many minutes the whole starting unit played. It wasn't very much. Mid-20s. I don't think anybody hit 30 except for maybe Buddy. So, no worry about the back-to-back there. I'm going to have a lot of Fox. I mean, for me, Fox and Simmons, Fox and Lillard, Fox and Bledsoe, that's kind of where I'm going everywhere. I don't see myself getting away from Fox. Not against Lonzo.
Yeah, Buddy hit 26, Fox hit 29.5, Belizia hit 25, Willie Cauley-Stein hit 22, Amon Shumpert hit 26.
Didn't touch the fourth quarter, Willie. Did.
So,
80% of my lineups.
Yeah. It was one of those things like, they had a couple. They had what? I think Fox and I forgot. Or Fox and Belizia were on there in the third quarter when they made the run, and then what really threw it off last night was the freaking Clippers starting Boban. That got Willie Cauley-Stein in some early foul trouble. It made him pull away from the basket a little bit more and start shoot some pull-up jumpers. And that was really, really, really kind of
and look, man. Props to Doc. I mean,
absolutely.
He did the right thing.
Yep.
I mean, he totally threw him off. And then Montrezl Harrell came in and just was the Hulk of the day. He actually saved me somewhat for all of my Willie Cauley-Stein lineups.
Yeah,
they all had Harrell in them. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, Fox played 29 minutes and put up 43, and then Montrezl Harrell put up 27 or 54 in 27 minutes. So, I mean,
5 blocks.
Yeah.
5 blocks would help.
2 steals.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So, I mean, it's one of those things like
it's 21 right there. So yeah, so I'm all in on Fox for sure. I think this is the spot. And then I talked about Bledsoe as kind of a pivot off of all the other chalk. I like it. So it looks like Tim Hardaway Jr. missed shoot around. He's also got the illness that's going around everywhere. So they put him in as questionable.
He's got the Monstars bug.
Yeah, everyone's getting it.
Yeah, so it made its way to Oklahoma City the other night, and T-Ferg missed on Christmas.
It's going everywhere, really. I mean, it's crazy.
Or Alex Abrinas, one of the two. Alex Abrinas got it from
Abrinas missed. Abrinas missed.
So, yeah, point guard's kind of loaded tonight at the top end. We've got some sneakier VIP plays that will pop off a little bit later for our VIP members. That's one of the benefits, man. It really is, because we had guys like Juancho Hernan-Gomez pegged last night. We had there were a couple other ones that we nailed. Not Amon Shumpert. Terrence Ross was one of my late day add-ons to my list. There were,
that worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah, it did. And a lot of it just, I'm sitting here looking, I'm like, he's going to have to play 30 minutes. He's going to have to. And then he's kind of blowout proof. And I thought they were blowing him out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a lot of run in the second half. And he was playing good. He still got run when the game became close. So let's move on to shooting guard here. To James Harden or not to James Harden with that quote-unquote bruised calf.
I mean, it's concerning, but I mean, It's hard to pass on James Harden. I mean, so first of all, he's 12.5 on FanDuel. It's what, the most expensive on the slate, right? Or is that Giannis?
Yeah, no, it's the most expensive on the slate.
Second of all, he's going to have Marcus Smart glued to his ass the entire game. No question about it.
I think we've been down this road before, if I'm not mistaken. Keep
Well,
talking. I'm looking it up.
Yeah. So I looked it up earlier. He doesn't hold back versus Boston. He still puts up
60s
Harden numbers. Yeah.
And I think most of these games were with Chris Paul.
I believe a lot of them were. Yeah, I'd have to look to differentiate between.
Yeah, I think the 2016 one wasn't, but last year and this year were.
So, I think in tournaments, I'm looking at him. I think I like him over Giannis in tournaments, personally. Because I think people, Boston, they're going to slow him down, and they don't. I also like a lot of ancillary pieces from this game, which we'll talk about, like, Tristan Thompson practiced today. That's interesting. I've got NBA on my mind 24/7, so just, But
I saw it and didn't want to say anything, but because it didn't have to do with today's slate. But go ahead.
Yeah. But like PJ Tucker is one of my favorite power forwards. We'll talk about that here soon. Like, I love that piece. Clint Capella. I mean, I love the fact that game is probably going to go under-owned because you're going to have Warriors, Blazers, Lakers, Kings kind of where most of the ownership heads over to. So go take a few pieces from that game and watch your, rankings shoot up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit lower owned, especially in the ancillary pieces, like you said. There's some other guys that I like as well. I think I would have to have somebody out for me to go back to Jaylen Brown today.
Same here.
I like his price, but the minutes just aren't there right now to reflect the upside that I want out of him. He has the upside if he's playing closer to 30 minutes, but with him playing closer to 20, it's really, really, really hard to even pay that depressed price tag today.
I'll play him at 28 minutes. He's just not going to see it.
Yeah, exactly. So
unless the game gets out of hand. But
I don't even know if he's going to play that if the game gets out of hand.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So,
yeah, it's almost like Smart has to miss or Hayward or someone has to miss for him to really get those minutes again. So
yeah, and it's just because he's not getting the usage that he needs to feel comfortable right now. And he's a young kid. He's going to learn it. I'm not saying that this is the end of his career, but it is obviously taking some time, more time than others to get used to his new role.
Sure.
So, Buddy Hield, kind of disappointed last night, and I had an interesting stat for you here with Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
If I told you that he was going to shoot the ball 18 times in 26 minutes and give you 6 rebounds and 1 assist with a block, you would say he probably had a pretty good night, right? And finished with a usage rate of 32.9.
Should have had a beast of a night. Yeah.
Should have had a beast of a night. You'd say probably at least a 45-ish,
sure.
Especially at that decreased price tag. Well, his price shot up a little bit. It went up $700 to $7,200, which I attribute actually to it not being as many games. But he shot 22% from the field. Now, when you have a guy that goes NBA Jam mode, and he, like Paul George, we've said this a lot when George and the Thunder are playing. He'll go into NBA Jam mode and just go on, like he goes on fire. You sit there and think about it, and then when he shoots the ball and he misses, what do we call it? Call it a heat check, right?
Right.
Well, Buddy had that heat check of a game last night. Like every shot that he made or he shot was a heat check. I think this is a nice bounce back spot tonight for Buddy. And I don't know how much ownership he's going to get with the fact that Klay Thompson is cheaper. You've got Bogdanovich that's $900 cheaper. You've got Eric Gordon now with no Chris Paul. You got Josh Hart. You got James Harden. He's right there in the middle of all of them. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that he's going to be owned hardly at all in comparison to all the other shooting guards today.
I mean, I guess because I am so high on him, maybe I'm kind of having a hard time believing he won't be high owned.
When I say high, I think that, Josh Hart's obviously going to be the highest owned. But I could see 18 to 22%. Which on a 5-game slate isn't chalky enough for me to be like, okay, I've got to hope that he shoots another 22% from the field again.
I can see that.
So that's my thinking behind the high owned part. I don't think that he's going to shoot 22% again from the field.
No.
He's too good of a shooter.
Yeah, he's not. And I mean, the thing is, he's going to have one of the Lakers' premier perimeter defenders on him tonight, because we just got word that Josh Hart is starting. But again, the pace here is going to be so frantic. I wouldn't peg one guard on another guard. There's just going to be switching all over the place. He'll have Lonzo on him. He'll have Ingram on him. He'll have Hart on him. He'll have Kuzma on him. I mean, it's going to be.
And you can add into the fact that, not all his shots come off of ISO step back three, a la James Harden. He'll get the ball in transition, pull up from three, and bang it in. I mean, where nobody, he doesn't go, he's much, much better working off the ball than he was coming in to the league with New Orleans. Because me and Al talked about that a lot when we were talking about the Pelicans when he first came into the league. He's much, much better now. Plus, he's always had the ball skills to be able to go to the rack. Sure. But now his shot is confident enough at the NBA level to where in transition, a lot of these guys, Belitsia, Bogdanovich, Hart, Fox, they all will pull up in transition from three and just bang it. Mm-hmm. And it is one of those things I'm not worried about perimeter defenders in this game tonight.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I'm not worried about.
That's the exact point that I was making. So I don't want people to be scared off of that. So I don't think it's an issue. And 3 years ago, by the way, those shots would get you benched. It just shows you the difference between how much the league has changed. But okay, other shooting guards that we should cover.
Let's not talk about Tim Hardaway because he's questionable. He missed shoot around. I think that if he is active, then he's a good tournament play just because nobody's going to own him, and he just did it against the Bucks on Christmas Day. Interesting tweet came out of Warriors shoot around about 35 minutes ago. Klay Thompson was spending the end of shoot around, and I'm sure he does this a lot, but the fact that they made it known that he was doing this interests me a little bit. That he was spending the end of shoot around looking at game film on a laptop.
Yep.
Now, why is that important to us in DFS? With the Warriors offense, they're such a timing base with their cuts and their backdoor cuts, getting Steph and their screens, getting Steph open and Klay open, and working the two-man game between 1 through 5 they all work. It's got to work in a well-oiled machine, and the fact that they just got absolutely blown out by what you could consider probably a Lakers quote-unquote second unit when you take out LeBron and add in Rondo, it makes me think that they're paying a little bit more attention to the smaller details within their movement-based motion offense, to where Clay could be involved tonight a lot more than what we've seen him in the last 2 weeks.
He 100% is going to, and the reason why I endorse that is because they're going to have to. They're going to have to. He's been in probably one of the worst slumps he's been in his NBA career, and frankly, I don't think it has anything to do with the motion offense. He's missing his shots. He's getting wide open looks. So what I think they're going to start doing is get him some easier looks, some maybe
backdoor cuts to the basket.
Yes, layups, mid-range shots, which are layups for that guy, and then get his confidence going. So I mean, I think that's kind of what that's about, and I love it because considering his slump, he's going to be what, 5%? I mean, he can't score anymore. And I think if they make some of these changes and he starts to get a little free, then I'm going to be off Steph and I'm going to go straight to Clay.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you. Josh Hart is going to be chalky. He's going to play close to 30 minutes. He's going to be involved. This is a team that we've seen what they can do without, we watched all these young guys last year, and now we're basically going back to last year's team, and they're at a price tag where their usage is about the same as if LeBron and Rondo were playing. So I do really like Josh Hart. I think a tournament pivot tonight to get off of Hart, honestly, he's going to be probably a fraction of the ownership is going to be KCP. I don't think he plays as much as Hart does, but they're going to need him to shoot the ball.
Yeah. They'll probably end up splitting time, to be honest. And usually it's Hart and KCP in the second unit, and that kind of they take away from each other. Now it's going to be basically KCP and Lance running that second unit. With probably a Chandler or maybe
Lance makes him dance.
Maybe if McGee is in or back or whatever. But I mean, I don't mind either of them. But yeah, I think the chalk will definitely be Hart. So you can certainly look at KCP for $100 more and go there for sure.
Yeah.
So the more I look at this game, the more I'm pulled into playing Smart.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I don't like playing Marcus Smart. I just don't.
Not you. I love Marcus Smart. My wife, he's an Oklahoma State boy. My wife, I'm contractually obligated to play Russell Westbrook. She asks me every night that, we sit down and we watch NBA together and the Celtics are on she's like, did you play my boy? I'm like, yes, honey, I did. So it keeps me out of trouble. The thing I was laughing about was Fizdale's thinking about starting Luke Cornett tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I don't know if you heard me. I said, "Holy hell!" But
I didn't. I was laughing too much.
Yeah, no, that was a few minutes ago. So that. Now everyone knows that's what that was about. But poor Enos.
God, he's untouchable. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah. So I think. I mean, I'm fine with that. With KCP, by the way, but Smart is, like I said, he's gonna. When we talked about Harden, his job is to defend Harden. But you can't just be there and not just defend. You're gonna have to score. So I'm getting a guy at under 5K who's gonna see close to 30 minutes, maybe more, if he can hit a shot. I think it's great. I think the other pivot off of Hart for 100 less actually might be Austin Rivers. I wanted to play Rivers on Christmas Day. Luckily I didn't because he didn't do anything, but he played over 30 minutes. He's probably going to play over 30 minutes again. And when all the defense is, focusing so much on Harden, Rivers is going to have some open looks. He's just got to hit him. He just wasn't hitting him.
Here's the question. Is he going to see more Jaylen Brown? Or is he going to be seeing the Kyrie Irving?
He's going to see Kyrie Irving. Yeah. Kyrie and Rizzo. I mean, I don't think they would waste Jaylen Brown's defense on Rivers, to be honest.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm kind of with you. I puke in my mouth every time I think about rostering Austin Rivers, but on a slate like tonight, you tell me a guy's going to play 30 minutes and he's, $3,600. I mean, I don't need him to do a ton, and we know that this offense, he's going to shoot the ball. He's got carte blanche to shoot, which is what he's kind of been looking for his whole career.
Yeah.
So,
for the third time in his career, LeBron James was named the AP Male Athlete of the Year.
Yeah, that wasn't a shock at all.
Shouldn't be, not with what he's doing.
Yeah. So, and it's not just on the court, it's off the court as well.
Oh, I was referring to off the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. Another guy we should talk about that in lineups that I'm not playing Damian Lillard, I'm gonna play CJ McCollum. I want to have at least one of those two guards in that game, or from the Blazers in general. So McCollum's price went down, rightfully so. He's been awful. I mean, DFS wise, but I just think that the game, again, the totals are so high. I mean, I might even, and I've never done this. I might even consider playing both Dame and CJ together, which is not something I do. But I mean, with Draymond kind of just patrolling the paint down there, and probably Looney doing the same, I mean, the shots are going to have to come from either mid-range or behind the arc, and those are the two guys that do that. I mean, along with Aminu. So maybe Evan Turner, right? I mean, one of those perimeter-oriented guys is where I'm going to be going, and I kind of like CJ. I kind of like it. Also, I think with everybody like going to so much of the other chalk, both in the shooting guard as well as the point guard position, he's going to go forgotten. Him and Clay are both going to go forgotten. People are going to go with Buddy and Harden and Hardaway if he plays, and Marcus Smart is picking up some steam here from what I'm seeing all over the place. And we mentioned Josh Hart, we mentioned Austin Rivers, we mentioned KCP.
The position's loaded tonight.
You have a lot of options there, and I don't think CJ goes touched.
No. Well, it's just like my same theory with, Buddy, seeing the price increase after a bad game.
Yeah.
It's going to play into the ownership a little bit, even on a shorter slate. So,
yeah.
Let's talk about small forwards here.
Yeah.
Move on. We're kind of behind a little bit. Giannis had a game.
We have differing opinions here, don't we?
I'm all over Giannis. I don't think he's going to be touched. Not with everybody else. Not with Durant, $1,500 cheaper. Not with Harden, $500 more expensive. Not with Clay. Not with Dame. Not with Joel Embiid on the slate. Ben Simmons. I think Giannis is going to be the forgotten man. You'll have your game stackers at the beginning of the night, but I don't think that he's going to be. I don't think he's going to garner nearly the ownership, especially if Tim Hardaway sits out and people are going to try to play the blowout card.
I think I'm one of those people.
I just don't predict blowouts, and this is one of the reasons why. Like, if he could legit put up 65 against him in three quarters.
I don't know, man. I don't think that spreads 14.5, and I think that's generous.
Vegas has been off all year.
I get it, but I think they're off on the other way. I think it should be 18.5. I don't see how they compete, particularly if Hardaway sits. I mean, you're going to see a little more Knox. You're going to see a little more maybe, you're going to see definitely more Moody offensively. You're going to see maybe some more Trey Burke. You're going to see some, another guard, which we'll talk about here only for our VIPs. We're not going to bring it up in the pod, which you and I discussed before we started recording, which you said I suck for because you didn't want to punt there. but I'm kind of going to be playing some of the second and third stringers from that game and moving on.
Okay, so give me the freaking box score, game detail. No. I'm trying to look at, like, this makes for great radio right here. Milwaukee Knicks, there we go. Okay. Now the game ended up in it looks like a 14-point win for the, or an 18-point win. No, 14-point win for the Bucks. Okay. Their average lead was 8.5 basically throughout the game. They got out to a big start, kind of slacked off, and it was, let's see, at halftime, right after halftime, it was a 48-48 game. Okay. And then the Bucks increased it to 16 by the end of the fourth quarter. If I get that, then I'm fine. Now Giannis did play, it looks like 7 minutes in the fourth quarter, but you know the lead was like 13, 14. If it stays within that 14-ish spread, I'm good. Because I think that Giannis can still put up a 65 in 35 minutes.
Sure.
I don't think that we're going to get 38 unless something happens. Like Enes Kanter better go off, or Trey Burke better go off, or Emmanuel Mudiay better go off, or all these guys better go off, including Luke Cornett.
Jesus.
But
Can't believe we're talking about Luke Cornett.
A 5-game slate. But
no, we should be. I'm not saying we shouldn't be. I'm just saying I can't believe we are. That's all.
Yeah. But if I just don't predict blowouts, and I know that with the ownership percentage and the fact that everybody thinks that it's going to get blown out, I'm going to have some of these Bucks guys, all the way down to Malcolm Brogdon and Brook Lopez. But Giannis is, if you're telling me I'm going to get single digits on a 5-game slate with Giannis who can go for 70, I'll take the, 15% chance, especially with me chasing a Q tonight.
Yeah, that's a different story, right?
Well, it's the same as attacking like one of these, large field GPPs. You leverage the ownership card, hoping that the game script goes differently than what everybody else is predicting by fading him. That's kind of how you win.
Mm.
I mean, how many times have we won by saying the Warriors aren't going to blow these guys out, or the Thunder aren't going to blow these guys out, and we zig when everybody else zags. Now, is he a part of the core tonight? Absolutely not. But I do have a lot of interest in here as a low field tournament option stud.
So he's not part of your core?
No. Is that what you thought?
That's kind of how you made it seem.
No. I love Giannis tonight, but no, he's not part of my core.
Okay, that's a different discussion.
Okay. Whew. Now we're on the same page.
I mean, because when I hear stuff like he's my highest owned stud or something along, not those exact words, something like that, I'm kind of like, okay, I guess that's his core play. Like that's kind of what I expected. So okay, fair enough.
All right.
So moving on to my core play here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a few. So my small forwards pretty much already been decided, and that's going to be Durant and going to be Brandon Ingram. I'm not. Yeah, there's other great plays. I like maybe a Wilson Chandler. I like maybe a Joe Ingles. I like Lance Stevenson for cheap. Yeah, sure. But Durant and Ingram, I think, are going to be the two top scorers at that position. So for Durant, I mean, I will forever play small forward versus the Blazers. Don't care who, don't care what. I'm always going to play them. They always seem to hit their ceiling versus Portland.
Yeah,
Second,
unless they get a bigger power forward and move Amina to the 3.
it happens, but
that ain't gonna happen.
It's not going to happen here. But and so that's with Durant. As far as Ingram's concerned, with LeBron off of the court, Ingram basically takes over as that, 6'10" facilitator that LeBron does. No, he's not.
Basically
LeBron.
their point guard.
He's basically their point guard.
Which is, we call it again.
It's definitely a cheat code, but it's a little bit more than that. It's also, he also gets really aggressive when LeBron's on the court. It's a completely different player. Shift center Luke Cornett into the starting lineup against Milwaukee. Yeah, but what about? Okay. Anyway, so I mean those are my two. I don't see how else I'm going to go anywhere else besides those two. I don't see how. Well, I just suffer too much.
Let me try to tickle your fancy here a little bit. Jay Crowder at 4,600 against Philly. I absolutely love him tonight. Joe Ingles against Philly. I love him as well. I think you can go back to Belizia as well. I mean, there's a lot of options. An interesting drop. I don't think you should drop at this position today. But if you are going to, or you would like to, Justin Jackson in that Lakers game is a very, very interesting play at 3,600 as well. He's been getting about 25 minutes a game over the last 4 or 5. With Bagley out, he's the guy that's getting a lot of that Bagley run because he can play the combo 3-4 forward spot. So he's just a young guy and hasn't quite learned the intricacies of defending at the NBA level quite yet. So. Let's talk about power forwards here. We're running way behind, so we're going to kind of breeze through this. Top guys on the slate, obviously, there's 2 of them, Kyle Kuzma and Draymond Green. You agree? As he muted me.
Sorry, I was muted. My bad. Yeah, I said yeah. I'm like, why isn't it hearing? Yeah, those are my top 2 for sure. There's some other guys here that we should talk about that I like too, but in terms of just raw best plays on the board at the position is going to be Draymond and Kuzma.
Yeah, I think there's going to be 6 guys in my power forward player pool tonight. Obviously, those 2: Jason Tatum, Kevin Knox, Marcus Morris, and PJ Tucker. Those are the 6 that I really kind of like. PJ Tucker is more for salary relief. It's one of those take a guy that's under 5K playing 30 plus minutes, and you're not going to get a high fantasy point per dollar production out of him, but you are still going to get production and in a lot of different ways. And if he just happens to hit 15 points, then you're probably looking at, a 35-point output from him.
So I'm pretty fond of PJ Tucker. Like I talked about earlier, some ancillary pieces from this game is what I want. And Tucker was the main one. A little bit of Gerald Green as well. But, PJ is certainly up there. I think Kevin Knox is probably my 3rd favorite after Kuzma and Draymond. So it goes in order: Kuz, Draymond, and then Knox. The thing about, so I've got because I know the thing about Cornette is that he shoots. He's not really a strength kind of guy. That move is because, like we said from the very beginning of the Christmas Day slate, Cantor is going to have to go outside to defend Brook Lopez because Brook Lopez shoots threes. Well, this is the counter to the Cantor. This is putting Cornette in there, who's a perimeter big. So it's kind of comes naturally to him. That means a couple things. First of all, that means more rebounding opportunities for both Knox and Vonleh. So if Cornette starts at the 4 with Vonleh at the 5, then I'm interested in both of those guys, because it makes for some rebounding upside on Vonleh's part.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see here is probably a combination of. I honestly really don't know, because I'm sitting here thinking in my head there's about 15 different ways that they could work this. And none of them are appealing to anybody other than Kevin Knox. I guess if Knox ends up getting some traction and becomes chalk, you can pivot to Vonleh in tournaments for $100 more, kind of paying up to get some. You're going to buy some of that ownership back.
We'll have to see.
But we're going to have to see exactly how they work their starting lineup first. So Marcus Morris versus Houston. I just love the way that he plays. He's going to play 30 minutes. He's an integral part to the second unit that runs. Do not play him and Jason Tatum in the same lineup, please, because they will run on the court at the same time, but they do kind of eat at each other's production when they are on the court at the same time. So pick one or the other.
That's funny, because my highest scoring lineup on Christmas Day had the two of them lined up matched in the same lineup.
Well, they both went off. But that doesn't happen a lot.
It doesn't. Yeah.
So, talk to me about PJ Tucker. Now, we're both on him. I think you have a little bit more love than I do, though. I like the play, like I had mentioned just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
I think that paying under $5K for a guy that's going to play 35 minutes is almost an auto lock.
Yeah.
For me. But
I mean, so he's. I mean, like, outside of Gordon, when they start double teaming James Harden, and believe me, Brad Stevens is going to double team if he starts to go off on Smart. If he realizes, okay, Smart can't even hold this guy down, he's going to start throwing Rozier and Smart on him to 2-team to get the ball out of his hands. That's how Steven coaches defense. Let everyone else beat us. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, James Harden can still fight through that because he's, an MVP. He's the most talented offensive player we have in the league, and that's saying a lot because we have some amazing offensive talents in this league. But the ball is going to start moving around, and Tucker's going to get his shots. They're going to need – so Capella and Horford are going to be locked up. Someone's got to get those rebounds. Tucker is a hustler. He's a hustle player. He's going to grab some steals. He's going to get some blocks. He's going to get some assists. He's going to hit his three-pointers. He's going to get his rebounds. For a guy under 5K in a game where there's going to be a significant amount of rebounds available up for grabs, I'm playing him. Particularly because of his price.
Yeah, I would agree too. It's really kind of hard to. You're gonna have to pay attention because, you've got these two up at the top. You got Tatum, you got Knox. I guess you can pivot to Vonleh depending. We talked about that, but you're gonna have to fade one of these guys in some lineups in order to play PJ Tucker. So
of course.
Yeah.
And if you want to go heavy up on the top with like Steph and Dame and Durant, then that's what you're going to have to do. And that's in those lineups. That's what I did.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about centers here. Joel Embiid, yay or nay?
Not for me.
Yeah, not for me either. He's not involved in the offense. We talked a little bit more about it. He should not be involved in the offense tonight if the Sixers want to win. His job tonight is going to be to make sure that Rudy Gobert is outside of the paint as much as possible. So that's what his job should be tonight. So I'm not paying $10K for a guy to box out another guy. Clint Capella, I love him when I compare him with Harden. It makes a lot of sense to me because of the way they work off the pick and roll together. Yeah. And the rebounding upside that he brings with Boston not really having anybody to body up against him because he's too long for Al Horford to completely contain.
Agreed.
So, Willie Cauley-Stein, you going back?
Yes.
Awesome, so am I. Yusef Nurkic, you going back?
No.
Ooh, wrong answer.
No. Because Cauley-Stein's 200 less, and I'd rather play Cauley-Stein than Nurkic. Not because I don't like.
Right answer.
Not because he can't do well, but if I'm having a choice between the two of them, it means I can afford either or, and I'm going with Cauley-Stein.
I like the lower ownership pairing when I'm ping ponging, or I've got some more pieces with that. Like if I go Steph and Dame,
sure, that's different.
Or I really like that, or like a CJ Clay. Or a CJ Steph or something like that, then That's where I would put him in. But if I'm just like making 3 lineups and stuff, it's, you're right. I don't know what to do with Al Horford.
Yeah.
He's priced fair, but I'm not sure what the minutes are going to look like. I'm looking here. He played 30 against Philly. I have him slated for 30 right now. Could he go past that? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if it's going to be a close game.
I think I might have a share or 2, but not much. Brook Lopez.
Are you asking if I'm playing him?
Yeah, I mean, we liked him. We loved him against the Knicks on Christmas.
Yeah, but I don't. So a couple things. First of all, I love them because they were starting Cantor. If they're going to start Cornette, I don't think he gets as many open looks from the perimeter that he did in that game.
I just wanted you to reemphasize it.
The second thing I want to say is I like too many other centers to play Brook Lopez. Like if I'm paying down, I'll play Kevin Looney if I'm paying down. Or Muscala. Or Costa Koufos. Or Thon Maker. Right? I mean, I've got those guys that are way cheap that I can punt over there versus Brook Lopez at 5,500 is going to give me like a 25 to 30. That's solid if I need 30 in a cash game, but I'm looking to take down 100K tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know if Brook Lopez is going to be that guy, but yeah.
Alrighty.
Let's talk about the GOAT, shall we?
No. Fine, go ahead.
We are all witnessing greatness here.
We are not witnessing greatness. We're witnessing a guy that is finally coming into his body because we witnessed this, what was it, last year, 2 years ago when he got an extra
every
run?
year. Every year we've seen it when he gets to play.
But, well, my question is, if you guys had so much freaking faith in him, why do you guys go out and sign JaVale McGee and Tyson Chandler?
Because we need championship experience. It's very simple.
Tyson Chandler?
Yes.
I understand that. I understand the JaVale McGee. But with that saying, you're giving them all the run and no run to Zoo.
Sure. But not the case anymore. And yeah, I get it. He's hurt, blah, 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 or injured, or sick rather. But I don't see.
I don't know how Walton goes back to that regular rotation when they're both healthy.
I think it's going to be Zubac continuing to be the starter.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be. Look, at the end of the day, you're still going to have JaVale McGee. They brought in Chandler for 2 reasons. Number one, championship experience. Number two, JaVale McGee is not a 30-minute-a-game player. He doesn't do well in 30-minute spurts. He can't. We've seen it pretty much his entire career. If he plays in 30 minutes, he gets tired. You play him 22 minutes, he's going to do really well in those 22 minutes. So they needed to bring in someone else. Chandler is a guy, I promise you, he's been in Zubac's ear. He's been telling him what he needs to do. She's been in the film room with him. He's been pointing out his mistakes. He's showing him the ropes. That's why they brought in Chandler. And also, they were thin at the time. They needed some more bigs. And they got him. But then you've also got a guy, as we start to approach the playoffs, as we start to approach the second round and start looking further into the playoffs, Chandler's been there. Zubac hasn't been there. Alonzo hasn't been there. Hart hasn't been there. Ingram hasn't been there. Kuzma hasn't been there. These guys have not been there. They need yet another voice in that locker room to say, guys, I've seen this 1,000 times. Calm down, not a big deal. This is how we approach it. You've got LeBron, you've got Rondo, and now you've got Tyson Chandler and JaVale McGee with that experience and that voice in that locker room to take those guys to that next level. So that's why we signed him. Now Zubac also had spent some time, in the summer league. He spent some time practicing with the G League. Like he needed to get more reps. And frankly, I think they were prepping him for this all year. Like, Zoo, get ready. It's coming. Like, we need you. One of the things that Zubac has that Tyson Chandler doesn't have, he doesn't have that low post touch that Zubac has.
Athleticism?
Well, he's older, so that's not fair, right? Like JaVale McGee does. McGee has the athleticism. And he's got a pretty decent touch down low. But he doesn't really have a mid-range shot that Zubac has.
I get it. I understand. It's just, and let's talk about the reason why I'm pushing back. Let's make one thing clear. I like Zubac if McGee's out. Okay. But the reason why I'm pushing back is the massive chalk that we could end up seeing because of the recent performances. The counter to that is his price on FanDuel jumped 3K. So now we have to sit there and we have to really kind of decide what's going to happen and where you want to go. I don't know if he's going to be massive chalk again tonight or not. We'll have to see. But if he ends up becoming 40%, 50%?
Yeah, I don't think you'll see that much. I don't. I mean, we talk about people have this perception that Embiid's going to put up 60 every night. You've got Cauley Stein, you've got Nurkic, you've got Capella, you've got Gobert, you've got Horford, you've got Looney, I don't know.
I'm just going to punt with Kostas Koufis and get the heck out.
I don't mind that, honestly. If that's your only drop scorer, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I played Koufis this year. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that was a joke overall, but it was a joke that could end up happening.
Are you sure it was a joke?
No. Like, I can't get a hold on the center position because I want to play Willie Cauley-Stein. I understand everything with Zubac. Al Horford, I can't get a read on. Enes Kanter is dead to me right now. Not because of anything that he's done, but because of the situation going on in New York. Nurkic is interesting and intriguing.
Yeah, he is.
So I can't I don't have a grasp really, and I've got 3 hours to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, we got plenty of time, and for me, it's going to be split between Willie, Capella, and Zoo. Those are probably my guys.
So, alrighty, we got anything else?
No, good luck to you. I'd like to see you with us at the live final. I know you're going to be going after some of that tonight. I hope you go get them. And
I'll be out there no matter what. It's just
I want you in.
Are you sure you want me in?
I do want you in. Yes,
All right.
I do.
All right. So no, I plan on taking this thing down one of these nights. So now you're getting my brain thinking as far as GPPs instead of just, what's a good play and what's not. So you're getting the Keith of a year ago. So instead of the one that's been bogged down by clerical feelings all year.
Yeah.
So not that has been a bad one. It's just not at peak performance. So that's going to do it for us today. For myself, for Bear, for the DFS Army, we gone. Peace out.